Well, I thought you'd be interested in this. Today, I had a mentoring call. This is where people call me up and understand their problem and give them, websites that offer free money and help to do stuff. And it was really about her grandmother's house and how to fix it up and get rid of the tax debt and all this kind of stuff. But then I started asking her, and we only spent about 15, 20 minutes on the phone, about what she's doing. And she has a normal kind of job and work a lot of extra hours, so I guess living pretty well, but she wants to be, she said, in the music industry. And that's what she really wants to do. And she said, hey, where can I get money to be trained to be in the music industry? And I was telling her about some places and everything. But then I was saying, boy, that's sort of backwards what we do in getting trained and everything for a job that we're not positive about, but we think we know. So they're going to spend all, tens of thousands of dollars training for something and then go out and look for a job. And then they may not like it, tell you the truth. So I think, gosh, there's got to be a better way, particularly if you don't have a lot of money. How do you solve that problem? So I came up with this thing for her, and then I want to share with everybody else, because anybody could do this. You're looking to do something, and actually even people like want to start new businesses or nonprofit organizations and everything. This is a way to do it, in a cool way, with no training, no education, and no contacts, and no money. So you don't know anybody in the industry or whatever, anything. And what you do is start a blog. Okay, now it's easy as hell now to start a blog. And it costs nothing. And here I found a nice review of the major blogs that are out there. And this is audio. See, there's a couple ways to do a blog. You do writing blog, where it's just words. You do a video or audio, like a podcast blog. So that's available. So here's a review of the major podcast blogs hosting. See, the cloud has taken out all the complexity. You don't have to worry about how do you audio this, how do you do this, how do you do that. No, the cloud has it all, and then you just pay them like $10 a month or whatever, and it's all there. But actually, there's free. See, what they try to do is get you in for free first. And now here's a review. It's a website called ADAMENFROV.com, and they have a review on podcast hosting. And be careful, they're trying to sell you some stuff, but I think it's a pretty good overview of the major places. And this is a podcast place I even used, Podbean, at one time, and you could use it for free. So if you don't have a lot of podcasts or a lot of stuff and starting out, you won't. So you sign up for something like this free, and it gives you like the first 5 hours for free. So that means almost you could do an hour podcast a day, all for free, and have that available. Okay, so, and then again on writing. So if you want to, like a blog, a podcast blog, or writing. So actually the big one on there, website podcast. Oh, free, that shouldn't be podcast. Blog hosting, right? So that's blog hosting. And people, and this review here on that's called FITsmallbusiness.com, and they have a nice review of the major sites. And really the biggest one, what's nice about going the biggest one, because they take care of a lot of stuff you won't have to learn later. And again, it's free, and that's WordPress. So you can go on either of those if it's audio, video there. Now, see, quality doesn't matter. All you have to do is set up your webcast, your podcast, or your hosting, blog hosting on one of these things. And say you're even afraid to do this, because these platforms are very easy. It's just click and say, yeah, I want one. They show you a whole bunch of, hey, do you want it to look like this? And you say yes, and then you just press a button, and it's all there. And you just put in your name. But if you do get messed up and you want to do something and don't know, you feel a little technophobia, then Fiverr, Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and you can hire people for $10, $20, like to set up the podcast. I've looked at it there, and you see people for $20, will do it all for you, particularly if it's something a little complicated or whatever. And actually on the website, for the blog, the written blog, it's like $5, you can probably get anything you need done. So now, for $15, $20, you have it all done. You're now a blogger, a podcaster, whatever the heck you want to be. Now, why is that important? Because now You interview people in your business. Okay, so what you want to do is find people, like, you want to be in the recording industry, in the music industry. Okay, so you contact all the radio stations. I told her where she is, and say you want to interview, people in the radio station, the management or whatever, to give advice on how to get a job in a radio station. See, I mean, people love sharing what they know. Okay, that's what our whole country's about and everything like that. So they want to share. So they don't have to worry about you asking for a job, because you now are a blogger. Everybody knows what that is. And you're doing a blog on how to get a job in the broadcasting industry, the television industry, the radio industry, or how to start your own nonprofit, or anything you want to do, anything that you eventually want to do in life. So you start there and start interviewing them. So instead of them interviewing you, you're interviewing them. And even you don't have to know anything about it, because that's what it is. It's somebody, hey, it's really for an audience that, I don't know anything about getting a job in the music industry. Can you tell me what people have to know to get a job in the music industry? I want to share this with people. So they get their name out there and things like that, even if you have no people. Because you're on one of these platforms, you look like you're a big shot. It's sort of like having your book in Amazon, which costs nothing. So if you do a book and put it in Amazon, yeah, I'm published in Amazon. So that's not like, Barnes and Noble, the same thing, but now it's Amazon. So that's why it's so much easier to feel that you're part of the system, and people see you as part of the system, because you are. You're on the biggest blogging website in the world, and you're there. So you must be legitimate, right? No. You just have $20. That's how legitimate you are. And see, then now you start interviewing. So that now you're looking for jobs. What kind of things you're learning. You're learning from the horse's mouth. Instead of going to a training school, a college, you could spend $50,000, $10,000, maybe a minimum, to go to some trade school or something like that, and find out, and you learn the jargon, right? Is basically what it is, and some skills and techniques. See, what you want to do then is volunteer even to start learning, in one of these places that you're interviewing. So somebody's nice and they seem to like you, whatever. Hey, do you need a volunteer? I want to learn more about this business. And then you get your foot in the door, and you learn more about what you really want to learn about this business. So maybe it's the wrong thing to go to this technical school. Who the heck knows? And you really want to know from the horse's mouth. If you want to get a job, don't go to somebody who's selling you information about getting a job. Go to the people that are actually hiring. That's where the information is, right? So now you have a platform. You have a reason. You can do this part-time. You don't have to be full-time. So while you're doing your other business or your other life or whatever the heck it is, now you're a full-time blogger that covers how to get a job in the popcorn industry or whatever the heck it is you want. And you'll be the only person in the world that's doing that. So people were, manufacturing popcorn, they love to talk about it. Nobody ever asks them what their business is like, right? And so you do it. So the biggest problem that people have if they try something like this is getting caught in the weeds. Like, because like you go read about how to do a podcast. Well, I mean, there's 100 things that they want you to learn because they know them already, because they've been doing it for 100 years. And the truth is, you may or may not need them. And you could spend the rest of your life studying that. Or you could spend $20 and probably an hour and a half of your time and be in business. And the only thing that's successful about your podcast is getting somebody on it, right? So all you have to know is enough to get somebody on it. Doesn't matter if it's screwed up or anything. You get somebody on it. It's better to learn that way anyway. And because you're just you could waste thousands and thousands of hours and then start spending money, some expert, that's right. Forget getting expert advice on how to do a podcast, because you're not in this business to do a podcast. You're in this business to look for a future career, not a podcast. So if nobody listens to your podcast, you don't even care, whatever. But see, the people you interview, they would like something that they have somewhere that people can look. So see, all the mechanics on this cloud that you're putting on, it's there for anybody to see. So they could share it with their friends or whatever all the time. But don't get caught up in experts in the podcasting or blogging industry, because they'll just overwhelm you. And you're not trying to make money out of a podcaster or blogger. You're trying to get a job and start a new career. So all you have, and $20 and a couple hours of your time will solve all that problem, and you'll be there. And the only thing you have to worry about is getting interviews. That's what 90% of your time should be involved in. Nothing is more important about your podcast than getting somebody to interview. Now, if you want to, say maybe you want to do a written podcast, but you can't write, you can go to Fiverr and get people to write up things for $10 so they could take that interview or your notes and write it up. And you have something if you're afraid of writing and things like that. You're afraid of editing. Oh, I'm afraid my light went out. Wait a minute. Lights on. There was an old infomercial, the clapper it was called. And you clap your hand, the lights go off, and you clap your hand again, the lights go on. Well, that's what I was trying to simulate. So, all you have to worry about is getting interviews. And just because that is knowledge you'll be getting for say maybe you want to start a nonprofit organization. Well, you could go like the 211 where you are, anywhere in the country, and find, like, maybe you want to help kids. So you go to that database and you'll find 50, nonprofits that are helping kids now. So maybe you want to then find those 50 people and say, hey, I want to do interviews of how people started helping children, okay? And so that's how you learn. You will learn. If you interview a dozen of these people, man, you're going to know more about anything, and then maybe you could even volunteer at one of those. Then start building your nonprofit. So you don't have to, decide what kind of service you're going to give the kids or how you do it, because they will learn. People in the business, the experts, will tell you for free, instead of you reading or getting on an expert who's going to charge you money, or whatever, or going to try to find $100,000 to start your nonprofit. You may not even need that. You think you do because you don't know what the hell you're doing. But when you get out there and talk to experts and even volunteer whatever you can, then that's where you can build up this knowledge and forget about getting credentials, forget about getting money. You just want to get the opportunity, you get the knowledge of how this is done, and then see the opportunities for you. So that's the way to do it, I think. And it's the same way with starting a business or whatever. Everybody wants to go out and get $1 million. And then after they do that and set up this big infrastructure, then they get customers. No, you get the customers first. And that's what it is. So here you have a way you're helping the society too, by interviewing and getting this documented. And maybe you will become a full-time blogger or something because you like it so much. But there's always another way to do something. You don't have to have money. If you get a little creative and find an option. Oh, and by the way, this report, if you want a copy of this, it's on Lesko Help. So if you remember Lesko Help, you get this and dozens and dozens and dozens of other reports. So if you didn't have chance to copy all the websites that I went over in the video, they'll be there. But it's not too complicated. You can slow down the video again and pick up the websites if you're not a member. But if you are a member, man, just tell me what you want. I give you that. We've got about 50 reports like this of how to get free money and free help. Do almost anything.